that particular country. Would it be fair to say that China was once a socialistic country, but they have adopted socialism now more as a religion than more so than as a part of their economy or economic growth, and they have adopted more or less free market ideals, how imperfect it may be right now, and that's why the growth pattern is like off the charts right now. They're surviving. I mean, the government right now, I know, is manipulating the dollar to keep it low, but with regards to their exports to the various countries and stuff like that, would you say that they are more or less what she probably was, I'm trying to allude to, a good example of a hybrid between a socialist / free market economy?
What China shows is that a little bit of free enterprise goes a long way. After Mao died and the reforms began under Deng Xiaoping in the late 1970s and into the early 1980s, they radically reversed government-controlled agriculture and farming. They reprivatized a good part of the agricultural land. Since that time, China has had no famines, because you now had people's profit motive to work hard on their farms, generate crops, sell them on the market. The Chinese have also allowed degrees of small and medium-sized private enterprise, either establishing or selling off small and medium-sized state enterprises. The larger enterprises, steel, coal, a good part of the financial sector is still controlled and or owned by the Chinese government. So what they've done is they've set loose the profit motive of self-interested behavior in both agriculture and in various segments of the medium and small size sectors of the economy, industry and business. The problem with it is that it is one that is manipulated by the government. You cannot open a business, you cannot expand a business, you cannot choose to export or import something without approval from the government. And approval from the government usually involves putting some local minister or some People's Liberation Army general's nephew on the board of your company, or a take for some other local politician. So it's basically an extremely limited and corrupted degree of market-based activity. The local governments decide who can do business, who they could hire, what products they can be selling, all through bribery, connections, and various other forms of corruption. And so what you do have is it's not a blending, it's the allowing of a degree of a market that has been corrupted by political abuse. I don't consider that a stable thing. At the end of the day, they're going to have to move towards more open, uncorrupted markets, or they're just going to find themselves so overlaid with the corruption and the connections that whatever growth that they have will end up slowing down, because it's just all those bribes and connections and manipulations are like sand in the machine. It is not a stable arrangement in the long run.
But do you see them moving the path of like how former Soviet was? Because I see, like I said, communism is like a religion there now, more so than economic thought. So
Right.
everybody is like more or less suppressed in their
Right.
brain from birth.
Right.
That, hey, this is the way it is, and they're all happy with it, you know? Do you see that moving?
Well, you see, as I see it, it isn't so much, again, if you could put all the major leaders of the Chinese Communist Party on lie detectors, do you really believe in Marxism, Leninism, Maoism? I'm not persuaded that every one of them would pass the lie detector test. What it is, they preserve the Communist Party power structure because it's the source of power and wealth. It's like a dictator who doesn't want to give up power. Okay, that's what this is more about than an ideological commitment anymore, to making some type of a utopia. So I think it's more politically motivated than ideologically motivated by the power, those in charge of the country. And I would like to think that eventually, as a middle class grows in China, that the same pattern will occur that has happened in other authoritarian countries as a middle class has grown with an expanding economy. As the middle class grows, people say, well, if I can shop and make my own decisions about that, or have a business and make my own decisions, why can't I participate in the political process? So you saw economic improvements with degrees of market reforms, rising middle class, and that leading eventually to political reforms. Both South Korea and Taiwan, for example, had authoritarian regimes. Now they're democratic regimes. That's not saying corruption doesn't occur with the democracy, but it's not a dictator anymore. I would like to think that that will eventually be the pattern in China, but I have Chinese students. At Northwood, actually this term we have 80 students from mainland China. A good number of them have ended up taking classes with me, and I've had a chance to talk with them. First, you're absolutely right about how the people are indoctrinated. These are bright young men and women. They work hard, they're very studious, but they come out of China with knowing nothing about the history of the rest of the world, nor even the real history of their own country. And an indoctrinated belief that without Mao and Mao's time as leader of China, China would have gone through even some terrible experience. Thank you very much.